My name is Veronica Sesson. I serve in the role of assistant principal at Lincoln Elementary School. This is my second year in that position. I also teach at a local private studio. I teach dance classes part-time in another population in a separate demographic. I've been dancing all of my life. I've been teaching dance for 16 years at a local studio. I teach a variety of genres: ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop, and contemporary. Always reaching out where I can with dance. That's kind of where I started with performance because it's what I knew. It was my core. So then it just branched out to theater and to other parts of performing and arts as well. I volunteer a lot with girl mentor groups and community theater. I just started volunteering some time there. I do any kind of serving and outreach with communities and parents because I believe that is very important in the community, especially where I serve. I've been working and supporting the Children's Theater Company since it came to Jackson with Henry Box Brown, and I am an advocate for this group and for this organization because it's going to support our community in multiple ways that I don't think that everyone can see yet.
Do you think that Henry Box Brown was an effective catalyst to attract not only meaningful conversation about race and racial unity, but also to find and engage community partners to serve with us in this work of building a children's theater chapter?
Yes, definitely. I think that Henry Box Brown, and not just the show, but even the conference with Race Amnesty after, because I feel like our community, there was a need and that people wanted that, but there was not quite a platform here for that yet. And so it kind of introduced the conversation, and it brought a lot of people who are on the advisory board now to start those conversations and start to build this where it can be a place where the community can come and kind of learn together in this collaborative space. And that's been very, very cool to see that. And I think some other things have kind of blossomed from that. And because it was like people want to work together and want to build and grow in capacity, loving on this community. And this, yes, it very much did. It set the stage.
What specific needs do you think, or aspirations of the community, do you think children's theater kind of fulfills for the Jackson community? What are some of the hopes that you think the community has that children's theater may be?
One key thing is the inclusivity of all demographics, all populations, and providing a space for us all to be together. So we've always had like events and things, but maybe it's been kind of like, just monopolized in certain areas, but like a way to create a space where there is just true inclusivity. And we're actually taking time to consider, well, how do we create a space for people who are in underserved populations to be a part of this? And what are those needs that we need to feel so that they can get here, so that they can be a part of the conversation? How do we make sure we include their ideas? And so it's like the advisory board is really what kind of drives those kind of thoughts and conversations, making sure that we're showing up in different spaces. So like when the students perform, when they're asked to come and perform in different spaces, we don't have like a limit to like a certain place. It's very broad and it's in very open and community events, like the NAACP banquet and Juneteenth. That was a citywide event. And then making sure that those students and families that want to participate, that may be in an underserved population, they're taken care of. They're fed, they have transportation, they're called and checked on. Like this creates a space where students or families from throughout the city come together and just be in that space together to participate. It just creates that true community, an equitable project for everyone to be included within. And everyone benefits.
That's wonderful. I know that one of the things that our creative director and founder, Mehr Mansuri, talks about quite a bit is the fact that when we form these community advisory boards, we form them for the purpose of bringing local stakeholders together so that it's not this kind of superimposed, here is the programming, this is what you all should do. One of the things that we really appreciate about you all, particularly in Jackson, is the fact that you all just picked up the ball and took off. And so all of those things that you just mentioned, it's worth noting that those are things that were planned and moved forward by the Community Advisory Board. As you know, one of CTC's core values is centered around creating a space where all religions can be honored and acknowledged, and we draw inspiration from all religions, including the Baha'i faith. In this regard, do you feel comfortable with CTC's core value of honoring all spiritual traditions, and do you feel that your own spiritual identity is honored?
Yes, I do agree. I believe that the efficacy of everybody's being as one, we all have, it's like one vision, one team, and everybody's valued. I really believe that I feel valued, and the things that I value are important and are heard. Yes, I love that about CTC. It's the equality for me, the true, fair, just making sure that everyone is taken care of, like everyone's thoughts. And even though they may not be the same, it's like where understanding where everybody comes from, where they're coming from when they're providing input. And I am not a Baha'i, but I feel so deeply. Now, I mean, I'm just on our team, I'm sure it has different backgrounds and different faiths, but I believe we're just so in sync. It's because it's important that we do value everyone's input and their values.
Right. And I have to say, just on a personal note, I definitely do feel a very strong spiritual camaraderie with all of you. Yes. And not only spiritual, but cultural camaraderie as well. I think that looking at the love that you all have for the children and the families, and the fact that the focus is really spiritual uplift, and nobody in the group is afraid to talk about faith and their own spiritual practice. As part of our CTC program, we do a parallel program called the Parent Cafe that is really centered around making sure that the parents can follow along with the curriculum that we're teaching their children, but also that they understand that they are also a part of this whole circus that we bring. Could you speak a little bit about what you're seeing among the parents of the children that are participating in children's theater?
Okay, so the parental involvement is probably my very favorite thing about the CTC program, because as an administrator in school system, parental involvement is always one of those things that we're strategically trying to incorporate, but it's hard because we don't have a space where parents can be here throughout the day. So we have to plan extension events for parents. But CTC created a space where it was like together, it was inclusive. So parents were in their classes or in those collaborative spaces, while their students were also in their music and their dance classes and learning their curriculum in their space. And what it's done is it's built an entire community, not just the kids, and not just a program for kids, but for kids and families. And so our parents have kind of like joined. When you see them at events, they're loving on each other, they stick together, they take care of the kids, they take care of even the teachers. The relationship has been easier to build with the family. It's not just the advisory and the teacher, or just the teacher and the student. It's been a collective relationship building. So it's almost like community building. You're building this community in a collaborative way. Parents, that's just shown me that parents, they want that space to be included. So if your student's already showing up for rehearsal and you have Parent Cafe as well, that is the best way to do that. It's giving them a space to be a part of this and have a role in this and understand what it really is. I'm not just dropping my kid off at dance rehearsal or theater rehearsal. We are going to CTC together to grow together. And so it's just really built that engaging community for families. And I really, really love that. I want to take that and do something with that on the school level. I just haven't figured it out.
So, Veronica, would you mind just telling us of the events that the advisory board made possible for the children and family to attend?
Well, after the spring break camp, the advisory board would meet frequently and discuss just different events that were happening in the city. And Those came about with the ideas for the students to come together and perform. So they performed for the NAACP banquet, and there were several thousand people there, different contributors from all over the city, from the mayor to councilmen to board members, school board members, and they performed quotes and some of their songs from the camp. They also did the same thing for the Juneteenth event we had for the city, the Society of African American Cultural Awareness. They put on huge city events, citywide events, and have several performers, and our students were able to come together and perform at that event as well. And parents are always there. They're always hanging out and in their little cohort as well. And so even they have built a little community, the parents of the students who participate, and they sit together, the kids love on each other. They all know each other. The relationship building has been amazing to watch, just in a short amount of time between all of the parents and the students.
Now I'm gonna tear up, and I'm on camera. A big part of the Henry Box Brown show coming to Jackson was facilitated with a space grant from the NED Theater. And we just had another meeting with the NED, and we're working on that relationship. How do you think that relationship to the NED has changed since CTC has come to the city?
So CTC was kind of like a foundation, thinking of all of the population, building equity. So I know that we want this to be sustained here in our city. So the NED offered the space for the spring break camp. It's a centralized location. It's located downtown. We were able to connect with Wanda Stanfield. She is in connection with the mayor and the Arts Council here in Jackson. When we met with them, we started with the core values. They were already eager just to find out how we were doing, what we were doing, because they knew that we were able to include underserved populations, which is something that they want to plan to include within their own arts program. So I believe the values and the way we really plan and implement this program is going to just kind of develop into the city. They are eager to be a part. They've already asked if there was a way that they could allow CTC to come into their space, and what some things that we would need, some next steps, because of course they want to learn that engagement piece on how to provide equity within their own space. So we're really looking forward to some future conversations. We've also discussed the CTC being able to keep going like beyond a year, and how it can sustain itself here, how we can use the assets of the city. And that's why we were able to connect with Wanda Stanfield to see how we can do that. And she was on board. I look forward to helping out and connecting people in any way. So what it's looking like is like the advisory committee, maybe something like this is going to expand. More people are going to come into the space. More people are going to be coming into the conversation. So it already has this base of what we deem to be valuable, what's important to us, what do we make sure happens, how is everyone supported and valued. And so I think people are going to learn about CTC and those core values and what the advisory committee really, really implements moving forward. I'm really eager to see it going throughout our city. It really provides a space that is so different and is so needed with our family and our community.